Hello, good morning. The theme of the next few videos is economics. There's a guy doing the rounds, I've been binge watching, a guy called Gary Stephenson, and he's getting some good traction with regards to his expertise on the economy, on economics. And one of the things I'm going to focus on this first video, keep it quite short, is about the concept of running out of money. Now, as an individual, of course, that's a very real concept. You know, you do your work, you get some money in, and if you spend it all, it's gone. You've run out. You've exhausted your supply of money. But what Gary Stevens points out as a very important point in this video here that I'll put into this as a clip is that from an economic perspective, from a macro overview, money can't run out. All it can do is move around. Interesting that we use the word currency, because currency is like water, right? And so whether the tide is in or the tide is out, or, you know, there's currents moving the water around in the oceans, it can move, but it can't evaporate. You know, of course, you could put all the water in an enormous bucket or a vat or a well or something like that. And you could hide it and squirrel it away, and that would desertify the land, right? Nothing would grow because of a lack of water in an equilibrium system. And so what he wants to point out here is that money is very different from real resources. So if you look here, money is not a real resource, says Gary Stephenson. Money is a competitive resource. Money is a distributional resource. Money is only used to determine who gets the real resources. Now, this is very important because when you listen to politicians, I particularly remember David Cameron on this one, he was it Boris Johnson, one of the Conservative Prime Ministers, comparing the national situation to an individual situation that, you know, we've maxed out our credit card in Great Britain, suggesting to the public, you know, this is what we all believe. You know, until been listening to Gary Stevens, I was confused on this point myself. But if we're not frugal and tight with the money, then it's all gone. And sadly, in Britain, it's all gone. So we all got to tighten our belts. You know, education's got to suffer, healthcare's got to suffer, potholes in the road, etc., etc. All these services that, you know, Britain puts tax money towards is unfortunately going to go downhill and deteriorate because we've exhausted the money. We've run out of money. But as Gary Stevenson points out, this cannot be the case. Okay, so we did Brexit, right? So the pound, the British sterling, is an ecosystem, a closed ecosystem for these British Isles, right? And what he wants us to understand very clearly is that resources, and, you know, you could go back to a very sort of historical basic point and talk about the market as places where people bring their produce, you know, to trade, and that money system, the economic system, sits on top of the market so that people with aubergines can buy some potatoes, even if the guy who's got potatoes not really interested in aubergines. This tool for trading, bartering tool, is something that cannot run out. It cannot be exhausted. It's totally connected with distribution of the resources. But then when you get to, you know, a modern economy, shall we call it, whereby there's, you know, office blocks and racehorses and gold and land and terraced houses in Birmingham, etc., this market becomes very much a bigger system and a more complicated system. But the point still remains that whether the tide is in or the tide is out, the money doesn't leave. It doesn't go like it might in your wallet if you have too many holidays and not enough days at work. And so another point Gary makes is if you've lost money, it can only be because somebody else has that money. So the question being then, and you can find out the answer to this question, is where is all the money? You know, we hear about this huge debt and this huge deficit that, you know, the government is in so much debt. Well, we all know that there's not much money in the public sphere. And we know that the government is in massive debt. So the big question therefore presents itself is, where is the money? Keep that question in mind. It's a very important question because it hasn't run out. It is somewhere, but where?
Okay, so there's one point I want to add on money, which I think is very important for people to understand, which is I think one common incorrect way that people conceptualize money is they think of it as if it is a finite resource. So imagine I had like a pile of firewood, okay? And then I burn the firewood bit by bit over the course of a month, and then there's no firewood left, and then there's no fire. We need to go get some more firewood. People think about money as if it's like that, because from the perspective of an individual, it kind of is like that. If you spend all your money, then money runs out. And then, for example, during COVID, the government spent a lot of money. So then there's this kind of perception that, well, the government spent a load of money, we've run out of firewood, we all need to be poor now. There's nothing we can do. But money always is up to zero. Always is up to zero. Money, from the perspective of society, cannot run out. It can only pass from person to person. It can only be held. So if the government has accumulated a huge amount of debt, all that means is some other group of society has gotten rich. And it doesn't mean that we as a society have lost our resources. It's very, very important to understand that money is not real resources. Money is, I think I described it in another video, as a competitive resource or a distributional resource. Money is only used to determine who gets the real resources. And if you have lost a load of money, that can only be because somebody else has gotten a load of money, because we know with guaranteed certainty the total amount adds up to zero. And I think this idea that money, we've run out of money, I mean, it's really powerful in politics. You know, the big thing is after 2010, when the Labour government was voted out and the Conservative government was voted in, there's this, we've run out of money, there's no more money. There's no more money. And it's totally impossible. And because money is only a distributional resource, we know that if a problem can be fixed by distribution of money, we know that that problem can only be a distributional problem. You cannot fix a lack of resources with money. It's not possible. Because money is not resources, and money cannot create resources. If you don't have enough energy, you need to go and get some more energy. You know, you need to get some more coal or some more wind power or some more firewood, whatever you're using for energy. You can't make it out of money. But I think it's been used powerfully against the Labour Party. They've said, you know, they spent all the money. But it's actually quite powerful to understand that money can never run out. Resources can run out. And, you know, there may be instances, you know, for example, this year just gone, we've seen there's been less energy and the energy price has gone up. Resources can run out, but money can never run out. The government can never run out of money. If the government has run out of money, somebody has that money. If the government has gone into debt, somebody has that debt. It's really important to understand money. You as an individual can run out of money, but society can never run out of money. And if the government has gone into debt, it is because somebody has accumulated money. So it's always in balance.